Okay, my name is Beth Guide. I'm with SEO 411, and we're going to talk blogging tonight because I think it's probably one of the most important things we can talk about in our present circumstances. With that, we're going to go through how to do it, what to do, where to post it, and so on and so forth. What I want to tell you guys is please put your questions in as they come up. I've got you right here on the right hand side of the screen, and I am always trying to answer them in real time, because if I get too far down the road, they tell me that I'm like listening to a fire hose. So you just might get blown away and forget what you were going to ask me. So just go ahead and throw it out there, and I'll try to keep it as real in real time as I possibly can. I'm going to put on the screen a couple of blog posts that will talk about what we need to do. That's the one. Let's go share. And I want to start with some of the very high level things first that we're going to need to know. The one thing that I am going to say is that there's been a lot of talk in the small business community about pivoting your business. And pivoting your business at this point in time is an extremely important thing to do. And what that really means is, how do you make your business relevant in the present climate? If you were a brick and mortar, what do you need to do to circumvent that? If you were used to networking, how do we work around that? And what can you do to make your business relevant? And a blog is a really good jump off point to do that. And I think it's part of the reason I chose this topic was because I think, first of all, most of you guys don't do this on a regular basis. And I have to say, I'm somewhat guilty of myself. I get lost in the day, and before I look up, it's 10 o'clock at night. But I think that I know for myself, I'm going to start to have to kind of talk about how to pandemic proof your business, how to use your website to make sure that you're using it to its fullest potential. How are you reaching customers in the new age that we live in, that's 6 weeks old, but it seems like it's 6 years. So there's a whole lot of those type things going on. And then how are we assimilating and reaching out with customers, being that we don't have that interpersonal communication that we used to have in the form of face-to-face, that it's all being done in little boxes and TV screens and so on and so forth. What else I'm going to say is Google made some massive changes to their search engine on, what is today, the 13th, 7 days ago. So on May the 6th, they decided they were going to come in. They say they made it on May the 4th, but they won't let us call it a Star Wars update for all you fans that like to say May the 4th be with you. They're not allowing that to happen. So as a result, it's just being called the May Core update. Part of that update requires you, not only challenges you, but requires you to build a trust for your business, to build an authority through your business. And that blog is the best and probably the most important jump off point that you can have. So we've got it. I can't see you, so it makes it a little bit hard. But I have to say, if I was in front of all of you and I asked you to stick your hands up and tell me about who was a writer, most of you would tell me that you hate to write. Some of you would tell me that you don't know what to write. And some of you just simply can't write. So I don't know what to do to help you guys, but we'll figure it out. The reality of it is that even if you can't write, I have a really good secret for you. Google likes third grade level writing. So even the worst writer in the world can write on about a 3rd to an 8th grade level. It's more like 8th grade, but not, so you got to be 13 years old, 14 years old. That's the level that they're looking at. Somebody says, I love to write, but I find myself criticizing your own work. Then don't read it. Give it to your friend. Let that friend go ahead and answer it for you, like proof it for you, and don't go back and look back. I think when I sit down and I write like I speak. And anybody that's been around me for any extended period of time, when you start to read these blogs, you'll notice that my personality starts to leak out the side of it everywhere. I am not a formal, I am a good writer. I've been very fortunate to have that talent, but I don't write formally unless I need to. I mean, if I need to write like all stuffy and all, I can do it. But what's the point? Why would you read that? So I'm always looking for ways to make sure that I'm myself. And I would challenge every one of you to be yourself, because that's the way people are going to perceive you. And that's the way that they're going to, interact with you. So this blog becomes a very big way for people to gauge you, gauge your knowledge, gauge your way of dealing with the world, your world viewpoint. And not everybody you meet you're gonna get along with, and it's okay if my blog, some people are like, oh, well, you're just too funny for me. I don't like funny people. You probably don't want to be around me. So it's okay. I'm good with that, because I can't help but being funny. It just kind of comes out. It's like happens. So for the rest of you, if that's not your bag or that's not what you're looking for, then I'm probably not the SEO company for you. But if you like funny, engaging, creative, thought-provoking, boy, you've come to the right place. So some of the things that I have, the biggest set of problems that I see is people don't know what to write. And I always tell them that they have a built-in content creation place, and it's called email. And I think I get a lot of my inspiration from the stuff that goes on in my email box, because my email box has some crazy questions in it. And they allow me, and usually my blog has been somewhat of a cathartic experience for me at times, because what happens is somebody aggravates me enough that I sit down and say, okay, I can't come to you and say, hey, so I end up writing the blog post about it, or I've explained it to somebody, and every time they send me the same question back, so I just go ahead and write the answer on the blog. So every time they ask me the question now, I just send them the link to the blog, and they can just go read the same post over and over and over again until they get it. See, it works. It's great customer service if you needed to use it for that too. But your email box is a really good way to start to come up with your topics. But I would like to challenge everybody tonight to figure out, what blog post could you put up that helps your business flourish and pivot in this point in time and help enhance that. So I want you guys to start thinking about that as I talk tonight, because I think that's one of those things that become a really big deal. So I know I put 9 tips, but by the time I'm done, you'll probably have 99 tips. So it's all good. I hope you have a really big piece of paper with you. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is some of the mechanics of a blog that I want you to kind of know that you have to have. I'm going to go to the end of this blog post first so that you can see that piece of it. And then we'll work our way from the top down again. So we're going to look at the anatomy of this page. If you notice, I have my shiny little happy face down here in the bottom in a nice headshot, and I have a nice biography of myself, and I also have links to my social media platforms. The reason I do that is so that I can let Google know what we need to do when they look at me, how they need to evaluate me. Am I an expert? Do I know what I'm talking about? Did I wake up just yesterday and decide I'm going to talk about something I have no idea what I'm talking about? All right. So I have a short description here of who I am in my biography. I also have a link here that goes to the other posts that I've put up. So I want everybody that's using WordPress to use what I'm going to call this star box. That's the name of the plugin. You don't have to pay for the paid for version of it. You can use the free version, but everybody that has a WordPress website needs to have this star box and needs to use the author box. Another free piece of advice to everybody is you also need to have a biography, a long biography about you that says who you are, what your education is, where you came from. Have you won any awards? Are you affiliated with somebody special? What do you do? And that needs to be included as well. Um, I've got two questions, so I'm gonna stop where I'm done. We're gonna go to the two questions because the two questions are good. The first one says, so for our company, we sell headphones. We have no idea where the pandemic pivot lies. Now, if I actually opened this little window here and we could see all the people, I guarantee you at least 30% of the people are using headphones. So there's all types of headphone recommendations that you can make. Are you wearing headphones to your Zoom meetings? Do you need to wear headphones to do video? Do you need to wear headphones for a podcast? What type of headphones are the best? Do I need different headphones for Zoom meetings than I need podcasts? I could talk about all kinds of different headphones. The other thing we have in my house is a lurking 85-year-old. He lives here and he comes downstairs like the little Grinch in the night in the daytime, and he sneaks around the corner and he listens. And then at dinner, he tells me all the things that I told the customer that he thinks I shouldn't have told him. He has no idea what he's talking about because he's 85 and I don't even know what he's doing. At one point, he thought I was trying to sell the house on the internet because he was trying to tell me that if I wanted to sell, I was talking to a customer who sold real estate. I do not want to sell my house on the internet. I just want to just put that out there. But so headphones, I'm finding myself going, every time I hear him come down the stairs, I'm finding myself going and put headphones on. There is so many different headphone stories that you could tell people in a blog, but at the same time, rate them and try to work to sell them. So that's that's right out of the box. So you have a really good product, to my mind, as far as to sell in a pandemic. If you sold dental equipment, I might worry about you. But on a headphone, I'm not too worried about you. Okay. So I hope that gives you some ideas of what to do and make your business relevant in this kind of a situation. So let me mark that one as answer live, done. Okay, so the next person says, could you tell me again what you said about the bio section and what goes in it? You need a bio about yourself. You need this little short one can just be a blurb, okay? And I think this website has a full bio on here of me. Hold on. Let me see if I can lay hands on it. Oh, I know it's here somewhere. Some days I wish I could find everything I know is here, but let's see. Let's see if it's here. Nope, not here either. I'll find it for you. But I have a short one and I have the short one that's at the bottom. That's just like a synopsis. And then I have a longer one here. Let's do this. I'm going to show you something else that here we go. I think this is. All right, so here, I probably should put a headshot on it, but if you see what it is, it says I'm the president, because I have two websites, SEO 411 and SCWD. One is the web hosting company, one is the marketing company. I'm using this one because it's a little bit more developed for the blog, so that's why I'm using this. But if you notice, it says that I've been doing this. It says I have a journalism degree. It says I interviewed Gerald Ford. It says that I moved to Houston, so they know why I'm here and not in New Jersey. I went through a whole thing, first customer, American dream, you name it, I said it. And then we have all the things that I've done since. And then we even mentioned Harley and Daisy at the end, which are my two little dachshunds that are sitting here watching the webinar. So just so you know, they're under the computer screen sleeping, listening to this. So they come to all our webinars. In fact, every once in a while, Daisy will make an appearance, so you might see her. But the point of the matter is that I have a long one, and then I also have my little short one. So I'm making sure that you guys know the two differences. The other thing is, if you do this thing right, I want you to see something that happened. If you notice, they actually, because I have a Wikipedia page and I've done enough in my life, they've actually given me a knowledge graph that has my Twitter, it has my Facebook. It's got my write-up. It's got my Wikipedia link. It's even got the fact that I graduated William Patterson University up in New Jersey. So it gave me all of this information that it's pulled out of Wikipedia about me, and actually gave me a write-up here like really something special, you know? So if you do this right, this is what you end up with, a knowledge panel on Google. It should be your life ambition. All right, so we'll come back over here. So just is that, I hope that gets what you need in the bio, in the biography page. That will solve that one. So let's see, what part of the company website are dedicated? No, it all goes on the company website. If you notice, it's all part of this website, and I'm actually going to pull up SEO 411's. It's also part of that website as well. They need to be built into the website. So there it is up there. I actually believe so much in having the blog. I actually have them embedded into the home pages of the websites. So here is our, in fact, I need to put a new one here just with everything. I haven't gotten to one. I have gone as far as to put my Twitter account here, which is a microblog, and I have the blog here. So just so everybody understands what I've done. So when I tweet, it actually shows up on our homepage. I would recommend doing that if you actually tweet with people. Now, if you tweet with people to argue about the Texans, or you want to argue about the Astros, you're not friends of mine, but we'll skip that. The reality of it is that I keep one that is for the company, and I only keep that strictly on SEO stuff. I don't talk about the Astros. I don't talk about the Texans. I don't tell JJ Watt how much I love him, because I usually do that on my personal one anyway. He didn't listen to me. He got married to somebody else. I just don't know if you all heard that or not. But that one he kind of didn't listen to me on. I keep my personal off the company websites, and I would recommend you do the same. Create ones that are specifically for the companies. Anybody, again, I don't let the employees tweet on my company one. They're me. That's the end of the story. And both websites actually have it on them. So if I go over here, you'll see ACTWD actually has it as well. And you'll see it's got the same attributes. So here's our postings. You post our class schedules here. Here's 3 different posts on this one. They have the same attributes, because I think, and I believe that this is an extremely important function to have the microblog and to have the regular blog. So it all should be part of your website. It is not right to put them on 2 different websites. Your company does not get the power of them. So let's kind of go with that. And frankly, I'm liking this questions and answers like this. So I was going to unmute you guys, but I think this is probably for right now the better way to handle this, because there's a lot more of you than there is of me and Sandra. So I don't want to really have a full out free for all here. All right. So we answered that one. So that one's done. Next one says, can the biography be my about page? Yes and no. All right. So I think it's SEO 411 that is that way. Hold on a minute. I did on SEO 411. I have the company's background and history. I don't mean this arrogantly, but at the end of the day, although I have 12 people that work for me, I am the heart and soul of SEO 411, which is why I put myself here. If that is your circumstance, then I have no problem with you having about the company and then putting yourself on that page. If you are one of many, then I might not consider doing that. But on this particular company, it works for it, because everybody that knows SEO 411 knows Beth Guide. Everyone that knows Beth Guide knows SEO 411. Those 2 things seem to travel in the same breath with each other. So I went as far as to put them on the same page together. So that becomes, what is your circumstance? Who are you? I mean, if you are the company, let's see. If you're Martha Stewart, I would say yes, your about page could be about you, because Martha Stewart and Martha Stewart Living are all about Martha Stewart. So it's kind of everybody kind of understand that one. All right, let's see. That one's answered. Onward to the next one. Are there free tools for WordPress? WordPress is free, and everything that I usually give you here is a free plugin. A lot of them have paid for versions. You don't need the paid for version, so you can kind of go with a free version of WordPress and the plugins that I'm giving you for the most part and not have trouble. Whenever there's a cost to something, I tell you that you need to buy it. When you can keep with the free, I tell you that as well, because I'm really cognizant about what it costs people to do these things. But everything so far with the blog is straight up free. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, this one said how many words. We're going to skip that. My business is a comic book industry. How much of myself should I put into it? Well, if I owned a comic book industry kind of thing and I was a comic book person, I would go crazy. I make my father watch Marvel movies with me every Sunday for dinner. We watch whatever the Marvel movie is on. So I would have no problem putting myself and comic books and comics and my own personality and my own spin on it, or my own knowledge. If I'm knowledgeable about them, you would know all about it. Now, I could do that with baseball. So you talk about comic books, baseball cards, I could go on for hours. So if I was going to write a blog, or I owned a hobby shop that had baseball cards, boy, I could blog on that from sun up to sundown and then some. So I would put as much as because the thing is, people do business with who they like. And the reality is, people will come to you and like you because of this. So I would say, yes, let's put as much as ourselves into it as we should. All right, so that one's done. Let's go to the next person. Talking about bios. You have a wiki page. Yep, as a consultant, I'd like to have one. Can I submit a page? No. So here's the trick to this. I have a wiki page because somehow I got in a physical fist fight with Perry Holmes, and I really didn't mean to. But it somehow catapulted me to the front of everything. So the next thing you know, I was running for office. They had me on TV. I've been in the newspaper, and I'm also a media consultant for Fox 26. I do a lot of their cyber security and business and website stuff. So if you have that level of a pedigree, they'll give you one. But if you don't, they won't give you one. In fact, I kind of had a fight for mine, because like I said, I ran for office. I have this whole problem now with Perry Holmes that I won. I did a good job. In fact, I need to update my wiki page. But because of the activist part of me, even though they listed me as a consultant, it's the activist is why they gave me so here's a tip. Live in a neighborhood next to Perry Holmes, let them flood you, and then you too can have a wiki page. That's kind of how that happened and that came about. So not everybody can get one. If you can get one, great. If you can't, don't sweat it. So it's a complicated thing to get a wiki page. All right, check that one down. Will there be a summary sheet? No, but we'll put the video up so you can watch this over and over and over again until you get it. Because here's the problem. I go so fast, I cover 4 hours in 2. So I don't expect anybody to get it. So you guys can go watch the video of this anytime you want. Okay, so that one marks that one. We're going to mark that one. Hey, Donna, welcome back. How do you add those posts to your website? I'm going to leave you with the how many words do we have, people. So we'll come back to that. How about a video blog versus written? Okay, that's a really good question. What it says is, why should I have a video blog or should I have a written blog? There's no delineation between the two, so let me show you what you should have. This is the way, in a perfect world, this should work. And what I will tell you is that if I had all the time in the world, I would do this on every single post, because I talk about this stuff so much. I don't think it's on this one. I think it's on this one. I talk about this stuff so much. What ends up happening is I could take excerpts and write whole blog posts on them and put these out, which is really what my intention is. It never actually works out, but so this is the way it should work. I have a video right here. So this talks about Chamber of Commerce membership and how it works with Google Maps, and we did a map class last time. Your chamber membership helps your Google Maps, right? So what I did was I wrote a post, forget about the video for a second, that talks about local SEO, why it's valuable to have a Chamber of Commerce membership, and why it legitimizes your business in the eyes of Google. This piece here that's written is not the script to this. If I push play, and which I'm going to do.
My name is Beth Guide, and I'm with a company called SEO 411. I wanted to take a moment today and discuss the value of a Chamber of Commerce membership that transcends the networking and mentorship that one gains from it.
So you can see already in my opening sentence that none of that opening sentence of that video matches that opening paragraph of that article. So my opinion is you should do both. And you should do both on the same thing. Put up a video, write the article that's a companion piece, not a verbatim version of it, and then go ahead and put that out there. So then the other thing says, what are some of the companies that can handle the processes that are not spam calls we get from Google? I don't know that I want to answer that question. Just hang up the phone when the spam calls call. I mean, if you're looking for a digital marketing agency, you can contact me after class, but that's what that is. But yeah, don't, anybody that calls you and says, hi, I'm from Google, please hang up from them, because that's like when they say, hi, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. It's the same concept. They're not really here to help you. So when they get that call, don't even hang up immediately. Don't pass go. All right. How do I put a gifting company on a blog? How do I put a gifting company on a blog? Gifting company person, Carol. I need a little more information on what you're calling a gifting company, because if you make layouts for babies, well, I could write blog posts about how to give gifts. I am the worst gift originating person ever. If I found a blog that gave me tips on how to do gifting, I would be really happy. But I don't want to assume that that's what you mean. So if you got further, if you can come back and give me a little more information on what a gifting company is, that would help me. Let's see. Have I heard of Rabbit Tool plugin? No. It's a software that posts. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell you something. This is a good question. We're a little bit, I'm going to have to tell you what this next comment says in a minute. We're a little bit ahead of where I would say I would not ever, and I don't ever, and my staff never uses a blog posting software, because at the end of the day, the recipients of those blogs, i.e. Facebook or Twitter, they know that they came from a software, and they have somewhat of a bias against them. So those don't get as good as a play. So I would say to you, no, don't use any of those auto blog posting things. Do them all by hand. You're going to get further. Now, if you get so busy and you're doing it hourly, then we could probably have a different discussion. But I don't know that I have any of you in the room for that right now. So, and then the best comeback, it says, Wikipedia, go pick a fight publicly, got it. So I thought that was funny. Yep, because that is how that came about. And I didn't really pick a fight. They flooded my neighborhood. I didn't start it with them. They started with me. Okay, so that's all everybody's questions. Oh, no, it's not. You're more of you. Okay, let's see. Wikipedia answered that one. Donna. I see today. You can go, when we get it up, it'll be on, I think Score puts it on their site. And I also, if you go to internetmarketingclinichouston.com, you will see all the videos of this that we've been doing since March. They're all up there for you. You can watch endless episodes of Beth. If you want, have at it, no reruns. So internetmarketingclinichouston.com. All right. Is it a good idea to have your blog post in your email newsletter? Yes. In fact, your email newsletter should revolve around your blog. So those two things should go hand in hand, and then the blog should be on the website. You should not be blogging in an email and just emailing it without that blog appearing anywhere on the internet. It needs to be on the internet first. So I think I picked a good topic, Sandra. They got like 100,000 questions here. See, I told you, well, 9 was not even, we're going to be like 100 of them before it's over with. Okay. By the way, you have yet to stump the band. I want you to know that. Not everybody can sit here and just take these questions like this and completely just answer these, because some of them are, I actually have to think about them. Okay, let's see. Good idea. Okay, we've answered that one. We answered that one. Is there a question pertaining to, is it best to having written? There's another question pertaining to the comic book. Is it best to have a written blog? I already answered that. Everybody should have written and video on the same blog post at the same time if you can. If you can't, I'm going to say it this way. Humans like videos, Google likes words. So who are you trying to give out? I'll also give you a hint. Without Google, the human won't find your blog. So that should help settle the score of what you should do. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do you all do any personal website training? This is my personal website training. This is it. I've been doing it for 25 years. I literally guarantee you, if I look, Donna's a great example. I met her 4 years ago at a the WBNEA conference that they allowed me to talk on something on a BP, and she's been around ever since. So you guys just hang out here long enough, you'll get it, which is why I have a merry band that follows me around the city, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day. Answers that one. Guide on what platforms to use for what times of business. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that out there. Somebody said, what are the platforms to use, what times of business? I'm gonna kind of leave this up there in my unanswered pile because it's got to go in I'm going to get to that. I'll make sure I answer them before the end of the night. Okay. I'm a yoga teacher. How do I do
Hey,
myself?
Beth,
Yes.
when you read the questions, read them out loud clearly because.
Oh, not truncate them. As soon as I get them, I stop reading them. Once I understand what they're asking me, I don't read the whole question. You're right. You got to keep me honest on that one. It says, I'm a yoga teacher. How much of myself do I involve in the blog? Well, I'm going to say all of yourself. And in fact, frankly, I'm going to tell you, there's a lady that teaches yoga on, she has a studio, and I met her. Her name is Jenny Norman. And I think that's her last name. If anybody wants to learn how to run a yoga studio in social media, go follow that lady. She actually started the social media before she actually opened her studio. So she was doing daily classes on the internet. She was doing Instagram posts. She was doing poses. Lady has a huge following, then opened her studio. So if you want to be a personality, I'm going to tell you that as a yoga teacher, I would be involving myself way into my blog because those that had good developed blogs during this period were able to transition to online and online classes and actually kept their studio monetized. So that's that answer. Next one says, what's her name? I wonder who's what's name. I don't know if you're asking me about it says, what is her name? I'm assuming you mean Jenny Norman, but I can't remember if that's it or something else. So I'll think of it later. Okay. WordPress plugins do you use for embedded tweets? That I don't know. I'd have to climb in the back of my website. If you'll send me an email at a later date, I will get you the actual plugin. I had to try several of them to make that work. And I can't remember what's the one I ended up finally landing on. So it's Beth at SEO411.com. Just send me an email and I'll tell you what the plugin is. All right, let's see if we're done. We finally have all the questions answered. Okay, for the moment, for 30 seconds, let me talk quick. Okay, so let's come back to this post. So let's talk about, first of all, the impetus of this post. I forever get people calling me that says, I had my website built and now I want to do SEO. Okay. The question should be is, I want to do SEO. Do you build websites? Because you cannot build a website and then do SEO. It's like saying, I don't know. Let's see. It's like saying we're putting the chicken before the egg is really what's happening. Okay. You have to build the website with SEO in mind. And it bothers me. And this continues to bother me because I view it as a problem for the end user. And small business cannot really afford to make large faux pas financially, whereas they go and have a website built, they spend a lot of money. The next thing you know, they're being told by the SEO company, I'm sorry, that website is not usable. It has to be torn down, re-put up, or reassembled. And I get that quite a bit. So I'm kind of now on a crusade to start to educate everybody that web design really should come. You have to define what the objectives for your website are before you can actually build it. And if one of them is to have a solid SEO presence, then you better think about that before you actually build the website, not afterwards. It's like saying this: I built a house and then I want to add a bathroom on the first floor. So anybody tell me how much it costs to add a bathroom on the first floor of a house after the house is built and established? 10, 15, 20 grand, because I have to go through the slab. It's not an easy thing to do. So it's the same concept. That's a working example of that. So I keep getting this question. So I sat down and I said, look, I'm going to put up a post. I'm going to start to talk. And I wanted to talk about why I felt like those items and those things go together. So I sat down, and the first thing I did is I made a list of why web design should be done after you decide you want SEO and not, or after you decide you want SEO and not before. The first mistake I ever see, and those of you that have been around me enough know that I really despise the Wix, Weebly, Squarespace people. Because the biggest problem with them is they don't index the websites. So you cannot get your web page into the Google index. 94% of those companies, those pages are not indexed in Google. It's one of the reasons I hate them as much as I do. So I went in and I talked a lot about the fact that this no index problem that all of these have is a really big problem. And I explain why, and I do it in such layman's terms so everybody understands what I'm talking about. And I explain that aspect of it. Now, if you notice what I did, okay, is I have this in really big text. Okay, I have a couple of these in really big text. And the reason I did that is because I wanted the end user to get that. And I also, at some point, you're going to put a table of contents on this blog post. And I want the end reader to come down it. So I think this one has it. If you look at this blog post here, it has a table of contents built right into it. So that's another aspect that you want, is a table of contents of your high points built into the page. It helps Google understand to come down the page and read the whole page. It also helps your end user to do this. So you can all laugh at me for this, but I was asked by a Catholic church to write a social media recommendation and business policy. So I could make the, a priest and a rabbi walk into a bar joke if I wanted, but this was my answer to the Catholic Church on their challenging me to write a document on social media. Now, what you will notice is that there is no humor in this one, whereas my other ones are all funny. This one was straight up. It was designed to go into an employee handbook. All right. You'll also notice that this sucker was shared 177 times. It was shared more than that, but this one's at least showing 77. All right. But this content, it shows you social media ownership, photos, employee conducts, and other odds and ends. I went through and I put sub lists in this entire thing about what they needed to know. So your domain registration, who owns the social properties, should the employees or volunteers have exclusive access over the property, watching vendors, admin access. I went through and tried to address everything. I went through and I gave them a tutorial on what to do with pictures and picture licenses and what the picture licenses mean. FYI, I took that picture. So when we're talking about blog posts, the one thing that I do is I ride around, well, hold on, let me rephrase that. In a galaxy far, far away, I used to get in my car and ride around with the sunroof open and take pictures. I haven't seen my car in 2.5 months now, so I might not even have one at this point. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked in the driveway lately. But back when I used to drive around, I used to open my sunroof or open my window and take a picture. So that's a picture I took driving down Westheimer, I guess. And I took, or Post Oak, I can't remember which one, but I took this picture of the Williams Tower, and that's my picture. So I have the rights to that picture. And most of the pictures that you see are pictures that I've taken. So I just want to put that one out there. I was going to say, I might even have my dog in this one. I don't. There's other ones that he appears in. But I went through, I broke it all out. I actually, if I hit this, but I took a concept, and if you can see how well developed this concept is, somebody told me it is post-oak. I kind of thought that. But if you see how well developed this actually is, it's got the subheadings. It's also got lists in the middle. Those are very important for your end users so they can scan down them and see what they want without actually having to read it. So if domain registration doesn't appeal to them, they can skip to the next one. The social properties, so on and so forth. Okay. I also did a submenu on all the rules that are fair use rules and common and license creating, royalty free, all the legalities of taking a picture off the internet, the best place to get a cell phone. I mean, I just can't really quite stress that one enough. But we talked about all of that. And then I went through the employee conduct and what employees should do, and what you should censor your social media properties for. This is a pretty comprehensive. This really was, I actually go and reshare this from time to time out on LinkedIn because this covers so many different topics that business owners have about digital. And it really, like I said, writing it for a church kind of really allowed me to make sure I came at it with, drug and alcohol use pictures, inappropriate and provocative pictures. Don't put children in pictures. If you work with children, do not put the children in the picture. So I handled all those things, okay? But the format that I want you to walk away with is table of contents, bulleted large bullet points down the page that the end user can scan and see what they want to read. If you notice, this is a very digestible format. It is not, it's almost like 4 different blog posts in one, that if you only wanted to read one piece of it, you would only have to read one piece of it. Every post I put up has that similarity to it. By the way, I took my own picture of the Chronicle back page, so nobody can say I took their picture of the Chronicle back page. I'm sure the Chronicle could complain at me, but that's about the only one. All right. So
hey,
back
Beth,
to
I see a couple of hands raised. If you want, I can unmute them and let them ask their question. Would you like to do that, or do you want to keep doing it in the Q&A chat?
I think I want to keep it in the queue because I think if we unmute them, it's going to, these questions are going to take much longer to answer. I mean, you can try it, but it's up to you, Sandra. I think how many people do we have? I mean, there's 100 people. I mean, if they all put their hands up, we'll be here till 2 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, right now there's only one hand up.
All right. Do you want to try it?
I think we should try it. Edith Fletcher, I hope you can hear us and you're still hanging right there because I'm going to unmute you and allow you to talk and ask your question.
She's not unmuted.
Huh.
Unmute her.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had ended up putting the question in the Q&A and you've already answered it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. No, you're okay. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all of the information because I've been really wanting to get information on how to do a website, and you get the runaround, and I was really confused, but you've helped
This
out
is
a
the
lot.
no runaround zone. This
Thank
is
you
the
so much.
you better learn how to drink from a fire hose zone.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You did. You simplified it, and I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm going to lower your hand for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Let's see.
See, Helen Fu has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Helen, can you? Helen?
Yes. Thank you for the information. I was wondering, how do you different blogs for B2B business versus B2C business?
I have a both, but if you notice, everything I do is pretty agnostic. This one here, though, is B2B. It really is a B2B post. It simply is. Everything, and it's business and nonprofits. I have no problem mixing them up and mixing them together because my business does both. I've got B2C and I have B2B. In fact, this one is probably, the marketing agency is probably solely B2B. And even those topics are all, hey, this is what we think. This is what we think we should do. This is what it is. I don't really get too crazy. Now, I mean, if I'm an accountant, I may give one set of advice to a business and a second set of advice to a business or to a consumer. I mean, everybody gets the advice that they need based on what it is, but I don't have any problem switching between the two or sticking to one when I do it. In fact, I guess I always write everything like I'm a business owner, to be honest with you. Every post on this website is a B2B post. Every single one. So they really just write the post and you're okay. That's the best way I can answer that. This person says, please go back to writing your questions. So I don't know. All right,
Well,
you have others?
Let's go back to that. There's no more hands raised anyway.
Okay. Donna said drinking from the fire hose really is right. She's right. You've been around long enough to know it is, though. That's the thing. All right, let's see. I have one that says used to be Facebook post 6 to 8 p.m. and IG was probably about the same. Now what are trending times for weekdays and the pandemic and the weekends? Do we limit the post to 2 to 3 and increase the visibility throughout the day now? You know, I'm going to say, you know, I haven't really even gauged it in the pandemic, and really mine are more during a business day. So I tend to put mine at the end of the day. I think that varies somewhat too based on what your business is. If you're a fashion person or you sell cabbie or you do in design or you're an event programmer, although event programmers need new careers these days. If you're any of those people, keep it. Those people are looking for you in the evenings. I don't know that in the daytime. I think you have to look at that case by case though. And 2 to 3 during a day is fine, and you can go more if you want or less. I mean, vary it up, shake it up. Again, not knowing what the specific business is, it makes it a little bit harder to answer. But I would say that, you know, the evenings, if it's a more personable business, if it's like my business, nobody wants to read about SEO at 8 o'clock at night, I guarantee you. So I would never put a post up about SEO at 8 o'clock at night because nobody would ever see it. So, all right. Can you comment on the pros and cons of LinkedIn and Facebook? I'm gonna get to platforms. If I can get through all this, I'll get to the platforms. Okay. We may have to continue blogging the top of next month because you guys have like a gazillion questions. I saw a picture of you driving with the sunroof open and you can see the church. And I think I saw that you stated as, hold on. I saw a picture of you driving with the sunroof open and you can see the church. Then I think I saw you stated as one of your picture rules from Google. So on my blog, could I use a picture from Pinterest? No. Oh, and this is the comic book guy. No, comic book guy, you have to use your own pictures. So if I take a picture of a church through my sunroof, that's my picture. And I do drive around. So it is possible, conceivable that I took a picture. I have pictures on my customers' websites of like courthouses too that I took. I just take pictures and put them everywhere. Then I think I saw that you stated as one of your rules, no pictures from Google. Okay, so what, yeah, all right. So if I take the picture, that's my picture. If it shows up on Google Images and somebody else takes the picture and uses it, chances are they're gonna get sued. Maybe not by me, but they're gonna get sued. So here's a true life story for everybody. So a few years ago, and this is partly why I ended up taking my own pictures at the city of Houston, and I have quite a collection of them now. I had a customer of mine Google pictures of the city of Houston skyline, and they took the first picture that came up and they added it to their website. And in about 3 weeks, they got a letter that said, "Hi, you now owe me $15,000. You took this from Google Images and it's my picture." I don't, nobody paid anybody anything, but that's what can happen to you if you go picking pictures off of Google and somebody actually finds out that you did it. Just so everybody knows, there's search bots out there that walk the internet looking for pictures. Getty Images actually is the worst with that. And if you use one of theirs, expect a lawsuit letter from them. So if I take a picture of myself doing something, or I took it out my sunroof, it's my picture, I can use it. I can use it anywhere I want. If Google picks it up, you still can't use it because it's my picture. I hope that makes some sense. All right. I have an online shopping store website for women's health and beauty products. How do you feel about collaborating with eBay and Amazon? Yeah, please go to Amazon or eBay. I have no problem with you do that. Please go make money anywhere you can, especially right now. So I'm good with that. I would say, what I would say is this. I have a website that sells light bulbs and parking lot lights and stuff like that, and we have an Amazon store. I do not add my Amazon store to my website. If you check out, I want you checking out through my website. If you find me on Amazon and go through my Amazon store, you go through the Amazon process. I don't let the two intercross because I pay fees if it buys through Amazon, but I don't pay as high of fees because my merchant account is much lower than Amazon. So be careful with that. Make sure you understand that, but I have no problem with that. That's the way it actually should be. What's the source for good free images on the internet? Your cell phone. That's your good source. Anything else, you're running a risk. I don't mean to be a funny person, but I'm being a funny person, but I'm not. The only good place for free images is your cell phone. And by the way, if you have an iPhone 7 or better, you have no reason not to use it. I guess we can say Samsung too. This one says, to the picture impression, you can hire a professional photographer, this is from somebody that's a photographer. Yes, you can hire a professional photographer. I personally, I don't want to say no, don't do that, but I think you have to make sure those picture prices are competitive with where they could be bought. Because anytime I've tried to hire a photographer, they want $300 and $400 a picture, and that's not reasonable for a blogger. So it depends on what kind of deal you can swing. All right, let's see. Can you add a copyright notice to the pro? No, don't use somebody else's. Or you mean you? I guess this is where I wish I had speech. If you mean, could you put a copyright notice on your photo? Yes. Can you copyright somebody else's photo? No. And by the way, the law class is tomorrow night. Let's see, have you ever did drop shipping and how do you feel about it? That's all I do is drop shipping. I never stock anything. We have not stocked anything in the 20 years we've had that website. So drop ship away. What do you think about stock photo sites? I think stock photo sites are okay, but I think that the end user goes, look, it's stock photo. So again, I'm going to come back to, so let me tell you, not that anybody's going to want to do this right now, and I fully recognize that, but I have a customer that does trips and travels to Italy. Little by little, I'm taking the stock photo down and going with pictures that he's taken through the years. I have 60-some thousand pictures that this man has taken. So I'm taking and using his pictures. I'm trying to get rid of all the stock images on that website. Danger, copy law, yeah, this is true. Danger, copyright laws changed on who owns the work. So be careful with that too. Guys, I'm going to tell you, there's no free pictures out there because at any time somebody can come back and you're never going to prove that you got what you consider to be a royalty-free stock photo. So I can't in good conscience tell you to go run around the internet and go find royalty-free stock photos because next week it'll show up on a paid-for site and you shouldn't have been using it. So I hate to keep saying use your cell phone, but use your cell phone. And there's plenty of things that you happen to live in an awesome city. I guess that's the best way to say that. All right, because we're gonna run out of time. So I'm gonna make sure, I want to make sure I get all the things covered I want to cover. Um, so let me answer a few of these ones up here. All my blogs are anywhere now between 900 and 2,000 words. And before your head spins off your body saying, what, I can't write that many words. If you know what you're talking about, it's really not that hard to put that many words together in an article. Okay, I do it all the time. And before I even come up for breath, I go, oh, wait, look, I am over the count. I should shut up now. And then by the time I'm done finishing, I'm up to 2,000 words. I have no problem writing that many words on a subject that I actually know of. If I sit down and make a bulleted list and then almost write a mini article about the bulleted list, I always come out better than I would if I just started this from scratch. Okay. Let's come back to let's go back to the ACTWD's ones. It's this one here. Okay, so I wrote this section, I wrote this section, I wrote this section, and then I decided I was going to put in top 10 web design basics for improved SEO. And why I put that in is because these are all the things that Wix, Weebly, Web, and Squarespace are pretty much missing. Okay. What I did is I actually went as far as to put special code called schema on this list so that Google could actually excerpt what is a title tag and take this piece and just show this part of the page. So I even went and put another sub list inside my big list. I'm doing these things on purpose. I would recommend that everybody try to stick with this format. So you want lists, bulleted lists, top 10 lists. Everything should be in some manner of a list, and it needs to flow from point to point. This is really just a 4-point list, even though inside of it, there's 3 to 4 subpoints on every single one of these, okay? But at the end of the day, really, it's just a 4-point list. And I don't mean to be scrolling so fast, but that's, if you look at this one is really, like I said, there's none of Beth's silliness in this. This one is really a pretty straight up and down kind of a post here. And this is really has all the attributes of some of the things that you should be doing with your blog post. I think this thing is 1,100 or 1,200 words. In fact, I will answer that here in just a second. I will not answer this in such a second because it won't let me log in again. Okay, so we've talked about the anatomy of page. You guys wanted to know how much copy to put on the page. Try to have a minimum of at least 900 words. I'm going to say I feel better if you put 1,200. And make sure it focuses on something that you can put some keywords in it, because that's a pretty important thing to utilize. So I'm going to mark how many words should we have off the list. That one's answered. How does SEO for e-commerce change with the Google updates? Okay, that's a class for the future, because that would be a whole talk onto its own. Google, I'm going to answer this partially right now. If you do the fundamental things that I have taught in this class for the last 20 years, the Google updates don't really matter much. And the reason why is because the fundamentals are so sound that if you don't push the envelope, you usually stay okay. The people that are not okay when these changes happen are the people that walk off to the edge of a pier and dangle their toes off. And every time Google shortens the pier, they fall off the edge. So if you just do what I basically tell you to do in this class and have for many years, yes, I change word counts. Yes, I have changed on and off through the years how to do anchor text. Have I added things like content boxes? Yes. Are we going to now start talking about authority and trust and all of that? Yes, we are 100% going to start talking about those items because they are impacted here. But your fundamental construction, if you do it and set the website up the way I'm telling you to do it, you're pretty much core update proofed unless you push the envelope. And it says the next goes on. Do you have and does having an Amazon store help with one separate e-commerce site? No. In short, not really. It does in the level of trust, but it's not enough that I would go have an Amazon store just to help improve my website. It's not enough of a, if you do all the other things right. I mean, I have websites that have sat on the first page of Google now for about 15 years and running. This one here, we did an update on it. God, I did it a year, I guess I did it 2 years ago. I flipped WordPress, and then in February, we flipped the shopping cart into WordPress. And Google is very happy with this website, so much so that they got me sticking in the boxes. And they've been nice enough even to show the prices of our tennis courts right here in the snippet. So I can't really, if you do it right, and if you set it up the way I tell you guys how to set it up, you're pretty much bulletproof. Now, some people would say I shouldn't say that. I probably don't. I mean, I guess anything can happen, but it says, how do I feel about affiliations with companies like Amazon? Well, I don't know how you're asking me that. If you're having an affiliation with Amazon because you're having an Amazon store, I'm absolutely fine with that. If you're doing something weird and having an affiliation with Amazon, I don't know if I can answer that. So that kind of becomes what are you doing? But if you're just simply having an Amazon store, let me answer that a different way in this sense. I see a lot of people that like to give me links to downline that you put your code in and then you get a credit from Amazon. Don't build a website because you're going to get a credit from Amazon, because if you sell somebody's book, they're going to give you a credit. Google frowns on that. And so I don't know how you mean that, but I'm going to tell you that if you're an Amazon seller, great. If you're just, you have a share this with Amazon link, not so great. So it depends on what you mean there. Okay, so Donna, I think, I love you. She asked me the question again in a different way. So what's a good source for free images on the internet? My answer is your cell phone. So I'm not changing my mind on that, guys, because to me, there is no good free source for the internet. So I'm going to mark that one as off. The answer is your cell phone. In fact, we may have a pop quiz at the end that I say, what is the best place to get free pictures for your website? And you're all going to say your cell phone. So that's the bottom answer. All right. Oh, she said I already answered that. I did. I knew it. I knew I already answered that. Okay, I'm marking it off again. All right, let's see. Any advice on SEO for landing pages? That's a different question. I'll come back to that. How much does it cost to maintain a website? You know, that is a loaded question, because you could be a plumber and have 5 pages, and it's far lower than if I have a commercial lighting site that has 109,000 variants and products that we take care of on this website. So I can't give you a general answer to that, because it's not $200. It could be $25,000. I don't know the answer, because I don't know what the website is I'm answering the question on. All right, let's mark that. Can you comment on the pros and cons of LinkedIn versus Facebook? I'm going to do that now so the day doesn't get away from me. So here's the deal. Facebook is very interesting in this regard. If I am a business, and let me answer this a different way. This post right here, that social media recommendations for business and nonprofits, it went on Facebook. You see it's got 77 shares on Facebook. It never really went anywhere on Facebook. I never got a call on that. I put that sucker on LinkedIn, and I got, every time I put it up, I get 2 to 3 calls for quotes or business or something. And the reason why is because for this particular post, LinkedIn is the right place. And I'm going to tell you that 9 times out of 10 for me, when I post, LinkedIn is the right post. However, if I am a cabbie stylist, LinkedIn is not the right place for you on a regular basis, because what you should be putting on there is Instagram posts and Facebook posts. If you wanted to put a page up that talked about how a CEO dresses, that could go out on LinkedIn. But you're just your general fun and frivolity to build your brand. Let's see if this one works here. If it doesn't, we'll have to jump ship. My internet's been slow today, so you'll have to forgive me. Hey, be quiet. Don't start. Nobody start. All right, it ain't gonna open. So what I was gonna do was show you a stylist that actually does their job very well. They put up a lot of fun posts, a lot of happy posts, a lot of different things they put up, and that's perfect for Facebook. If you went and put that on LinkedIn, they'd eat you alive and they'd go crazy. So this post that I have here on the Chamber of Commerce, it goes on LinkedIn. Even though it was shared 44 times on Facebook, it's better off on LinkedIn, and it's more appropriate for LinkedIn. So you have to decide what the post is and where it plays better. But I'm going to tell you that if you're a hobbyist, if you're a stylist, I have a friend that does balloons, and all his balloon stuff, he puts that all over Facebook and Instagram. That works there. I tend to think that if he put how to have balloons and novelties of that on LinkedIn, the way he puts it up on Facebook, it would not work. Because he's not framing it right for LinkedIn, and it's not explaining why that's the right thing to have on LinkedIn. So you have to really, I really have to look at what the post is and whether it's appropriate. What I will tell you is that everything that I post, I do put on Facebook. I don't ignore it. But at the end of the day, in fact, I frankly just had this talk with my business partner today, because I was basically saying I could go put all of this on Facebook. First of all, I'm going to have to back it with money for to get out and to be seen. And the second thing is, I'm not so sure that at this point, Facebook is going to push that type of a business, because when I sit in my recliner with my iPad and I want to see what my friends' kids did that day, am I going to want to go off on a real heavy blog post talking about what is the rules and regs for social media if you own a business? So I just think that you have to use your head on that, and it's very important to use the right platform. And by the same token, I would never tell somebody that's posting pictures of them with their spring styles and how to accessorize with jewelry. I would never tell them to go throw that out on LinkedIn, because they would look foolish doing that. So it's you kind of really need to pick and choose your battles on that one. Excuse me a minute. Could you please stop that? So I told you the dogs were going to make an appearance. They always do. They cannot get through 2 hours without being hams. All right, let's see. That's Facebook. How much does it cost? Done. Where do I find a copy of that blog post, and what is its title? Just go to ACTWD and just start looking for them. There's not that many there. You'll find it. Let me close that one. That one's done. Oh, good. We're getting down. We knocked them all back down again. Okay, so onward and upward then. Okay, so you kind of have an idea of where to put them, what to do with them. The other thing I want to call your attention to is I have keywords baked in every blog that post that you've looked at. Okay, if you notice, this one here is on web design and SEO, so therefore I have links on SEO and web design and SEO. I made links out to them. Please make sure that if you have a keyword that links, that you take it and you link it to another part of your website that works that links to the page that it's about. Do not link the web design page to your, I don't know, your web hosting page. Those two things are not the same. Web design goes to web design, SEO goes to SEO, web hosting would go to web hosting. And you see that as I have them, when I have them, web design again, web design actually on this one points back to the home page because the home page is also about web design. So that's an important part of that, if you will. So we've got, this is the right way to post things. Subheads, H1 tags, making sure we have them, making sure we have anchor text, and that we have everything laid out. Okay, so this person said, boy, I'm not really being testy. It says, please don't get mad at me, but I have another question on pictures. So what's funny on this one is, unless we have a picture of Iron Man, he can't use his cell phone. So what it says is, my blog is mostly about the heroes of Marvel and DC Comics, which mostly will have pictures of them. Can I use Pinterest or should I get licensing? You should get licensing, because here's the thing. So here's the deal. Again, the legal seminar is tomorrow night, so let's put that in context. It's not really, Sandra. It's okay. We don't have a legal seminar tomorrow night. But let me put this in context for you. Disney owns Marvel, and Disney is not nice people. And when Disney sees you using Mickey Mouse or Iron Man or the little baby Yoda, which is the cutest thing ever, you're going to get a cease and desist letter, and you may get a demand for money. What I might do, back to my cell phone situation, is next time you go to Comic-Con, take pictures and utilize those pictures. That would be a way to create your own stock images of those. I don't know what the licensing is to use a picture of Iron Man at this point in time. I can't even begin to think the cost of that. So I would be very careful with that. I'll tell you, I did have a person that was doing costumes for Halloween, and they were told to take all their Donald Duck costumes down. So they just went and altered the Donald Duck so it didn't look like Donald Duck, and they called him like David Duck. So it was obvious what they were doing, but they weren't inside of that. But copying something from Pinterest is not going to save your bacon, because it belongs to whoever had it in Pinterest. If they're using it illegally, that still doesn't mean that your butt isn't in trouble, just because you can't say, well, that guy used his over there. It's just like, I was copying off of her and she was copying off the next guy. So who is really, you all are in trouble, not just the one guy who was doing the caboose thing. So I wouldn't touch that with it. I understand the problem that you have, but I would come up with different ways to handle it. And like I said, my initial thing would be to go to Comic-Con, because I could take a lot of pictures there and have a lot of pictures of people in Iron Man costumes. And I don't think they can do anything with you on that one. But that is a little bit out of my legal purview. All right. So I have handled, just so you know, we are now 1 hour and 20 minutes in, and we have talked about 2 topics. The next thing I want to call attention to is the share buttons that should be on every blog post. This is done through one that's called social warfare. And I highly recommend doing that. This particular plugin, what I like about it is that there is a, don't take this the wrong way, but there's a Me Too factor to this, because what happens is when these shares start to go up, people have more confidence in sharing it because somebody else did. This allows that to be counted, and more people go, oh, I like it too, and they share it. So I highly recommend Social Warfare. It is a little difficult to set up. It may confound you. So if you're not technical savvy, I would be very careful with it, but I would highly recommend it. There are others out there, but that is the one that I have found works the best, gets me the most shares, keeps a count of them, and actually kind of keeps an accurate count of them. As you can tell, most people use this bar and not this one over here. This is the same plugin running it, but they usually do this through the middle of the page. So Social Warfare, the URL on it is socialwarfareplugin.com. Make sure that you have a way to share it. What I will tell you is that there is a post that I have on this website that Donna, that's in this class, put up and said, Beth, why do you not have sharing on this? Because I didn't have sharing on some of these blog posts up until a couple days ago. Mostly because the plugin was breaking the theme and I had to get my system admin to fix that for me, that there was a conflict. But all the ones on SEO 411 now have the way to share them. So even that one. So thank you for the feedback. I went ahead and put share buttons on the website for everybody. So that one, this one now has it too on all the posts. And so this is pretty new. So my guess is we're going to not see counts go up, and I'm going to have to do this later. It says, where does fair use play into this? You know, God, I'm going to answer that a little bit differently than probably you would want me to answer it. You can take any chance in the world and try to claim fair use. But I'm here to tell you that Disney will be on you and Getty Images will be on you. And that if you're small, how are you going to fight that? And I think that continues to be my problem with that. Like, for example, those of you that know me know that I just love the Texans more than I could ever begin to say, although I'm pretty mad at them right now. And I really am on that. I'm going to buy myself a Fire Bill O'Brien shirt just to wear it all over town. But with that said, you may see me put up a picture that I took at Reliance Stadium with the Texans logo in the background. Texans ain't coming after me for putting up a picture that I took that their logo happens to be in the background. I think they're going to have a hard reach because I took that photo. I have a picture that I took. Again, knowing my personality, I went to one of the Astros playoff games, the one that was like really cold. And I have a picture of the American flag and the Never Settle flag on one picture, on one frame. I have seen that now copied over the internet because people have stolen it and utilized it. I don't know that I had the right to use the Never Settle, but it was my picture and it was a picture I took. I don't think I hardly could go after them for replicating that because really the Never Settle belonged to Major League Baseball. To me, it was inspirational, so that's why I used it, or why I took it. But I think if you're big enough, you could fight it and try to do it and try to argue with them. I'm not big enough to have that fight, so I'm not going to go pick a fight with a bully on a fight that I can't win. And I'm not going to give anybody in this class, without really knowing who they are, advice to get themselves in a fight without knowing. If you know that you have the wherewithal to get into that fight and you think you could win it and your lawyers have looked at it, have at it. But I'm not a lawyer. Somebody with 20 years in the web business. I've seen a lot of stuff come through my hosting company. I get all the copyright complaints. I get all the photo complaints. I have had to fill out affidavits for courts. I wouldn't want to see any of you in that boat. And that's why I keep saying use your own cell phone, because that's the only way I can know that you're 100% safe and you don't come back to me and say, but you said this is okay. I want everybody to exercise caution unless you have a legal department, your brother's a lawyer, or you're a lawyer, because otherwise it's going to cost you a small fortune when all you had to do is take a picture with your cell phone. And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse or I'm undersimplifying something, but when I tell you that it happened at residential, that LED spot company, they used a picture from Getty Images and they got a letter in the mail saying, we estimate you owe us $25,000. They ended up settling it. And I don't even think I really thought they had to pay it, but they had the money and they settled it up and they paid it. I don't have $25,000 to randomly give somebody because I decided I wanted to use a picture on something. I don't know if that kind of makes sense or not, but that's kind of where I'm at on it. So yes, there's fair use. Yes, it's there. I can't tell these folks in good conscience that just go do it. I can only give them the one bulletproof way to answer that. So that's a very long answer, but that's just my opinion on it. And because I don't think everybody in the room has the money. Here's another one. Oh wait, is fair use only on text or do pictures count? See, this is, I don't know. We might need to have a legal one. See, they're all asking legal questions now. What am I going to do with that? I really didn't bring my law degree tonight. I promise. All right, let's see. Comic-Con has a no picture policy on their tickets. See, even that, but that doesn't mean you can't take a picture in the parking lot if you see Iron Man. I might say that would be a good idea, just saying. But that doesn't mean that Iron Man himself doesn't come back and sue you because now he thinks you're making money off his picture. So put that in. I want to tell you another true story. So people that use their kids, now the kids are, and they've made money, the kids are now coming back and suing the parents for the money because they said made money. So the only child that I put a picture up is Daisy, and that's my dog. Because I don't think anybody is going to hire a lawyer for Daisy to sue me because Daisy can't sign any paperwork. Just a thought. That's the only safe child I have. So you have to be careful. There's a lot of problems with pictures of people and being used in business. Even this, we've always taken, Sandra, we've always taken it from the back of people's heads so they could never argue it was them in the picture, right? You agree with that? Yes? You're muted, but
we just let everybody know that pictures are taken at our events.
Do you have a photo release signed, or you don't know?
We let everyone know that that pictures are taken at our events. So by registering for the event, they're agreeing to have the picture taken.
Okay, so that's how you're handling that. See, and I've always taken the pictures of backs of heads, so I didn't have real people that could come back and say, hey, you're making money off my image. I want 50 grand because you made money off my image. So this gets a slippery slope, guys. I just really would be careful on this. Somebody wants to know if there's slides. No, there's no slides because they're in my head. So there is no slides. If I had to make slides for this class, we would never get through the class, but there is going to be a video. So you can take the video and watch the video at a later date. Internet Marketing Clinic Houston.com is where it shall be for your convenience. All right, let's see what else. Comic-Con has no picture policy. If the website is created on a local drive and not published, would you recommend top 3 things to pay attention to in order to help the SEO company to work on it later without less? If a website was if a website was created on a local drive and not published yet, would you recommend top 3 things to pay attention to in order for the help? Yes, I can do that. Let it be in WordPress. Make sure that you have all your internal and your internal linking structure and hierarchy set up properly. And make sure that you are using the proper tags, H1 tags, your meta tags, and your title tags are set up. Where most sites that are built by somebody else fall apart is they fall apart because they have no hierarchy to them. And because there's no hierarchy and no organization, Google doesn't know what the website's about, and inevitably we have to move it all around. Some are worse than others, but that's the top 3 things that I would do on that one. All right, this one says, look at this, I got vindicated. You are 100% right. This is my new friend, Scott Drysdale said, I am 100% right. I love it. No, I'm only kidding. Okay, it says you're 100% right on using Disney, Procter & Gamble, IBM, or any or corporation on their trademark. They will fight you with no exception and no end except the victory for them. At best, they will tell you to stop immediately. At worst, they will send you a message demanding damages. So that's why I think it's a really big problem. John says, SCORE has an IP guy. Yes, that's probably a good question. And Jim says, do you think we can get an IP attorney to come to class like we used to? Well, that's a little bit different because that's a Sandra problem. And we'd have to talk to SCORE about that, but I don't know that it would be part of the Internet Marketing Clinic. So that's that story. Let's see.
But I'll look into it and I'll talk with SCORE.
Yeah, and it may be a standalone on its own, Sandra, because it might be worth it in this day and age. It says, will what we're seeing on the slides this evening be available? I think I answered that. One. And then we all are good with the difference between business and personal Facebook. Okay, this one says, what's the difference between the two? I think that's a good question. Business Facebook is for business, personal business, personal pages are for personal. I mean, that's a real duh moment. I don't mean to be stupid in saying that. The major difference, though, is that when you post something on paid personal, the algorithm is different. So when I post something, I put something up on my personal, I put something up on the company, and I do both simultaneously. With Jim being here, he's a great example. When Jim sees anything I post, whether business or personal, he likes both of them. And I think the reason, one of the reasons you would do that is because my posts tend to show up more in his scroll if he likes them. Like pushes the like button on something I do, because it starts to learn that Jim likes things that Beth does. So it'll show him my company more, and it will show him the posts from me more, just because he engages with them. And I had told the day class to do that. So they went and signed up for both ACTWD and SEO 411's Facebook pages. And they always like what's there so that they get the notifications of classes, because I post the whole class schedule on both of them all the time. So that will be that. Let's see. The difference. Oh, I answered that one. All right. Can you put a link to the replay in the question and answer so we can copy it and get an email with the link? Okay.
I can answer that. The link for the recording isn't ready yet.
It's not ready yet, but I'm going to say again, Internet Marketing Clinic, Houston.com. We'll have it there once we can get it up and get it together, because they're all there. So if you like this one, you can listen to me for another. How many have we done like this now? 4, 5? There's like 8, 10, 12 hours of me pontificating. If you like this so much, you can go there and listen. We did one all on social media all by itself. That one's a good one too. That one's up there also. I think, Sandra, do you know if SCORE's putting them up?
I'll check with them. I think they are actually. I think there's something on their front page that says SCORE recorded webinars. If you Google "take a workshop SCORE Houston," it'll bring you to all of their workshops that are posted that are coming up. And I think they've just recently added something there that says recorded webinars.
Okay, so you can go through SCORE. You can go through the Internet Marketing Clinic, Houston.com. I have a YouTube channel that also has them all. So everything is there, guys. They're all there. So if anyone you want, you can just go and have a field day if you want. Okay, what else I tell everybody is, if you do go to YouTube, do me a favor and like the YouTube channel. It helps me out. Appreciate it. Okay, so that's that story. let's see. I've seen people with YouTube use video blogs to showcase certain comic books or comic book stories. Can the comic book... Oh, see, you need a law class. Yes, I think anybody can sue you. See, that's the problem. I think anybody can sue you. I know you have a different kind of, like, if you were going to do a review of the comic book, I don't think they would sue you. But if you're just like doing a knockoff of the comic book or the comic book story, I could see you having a problem. And I think it really starts to be specific to what you do with it. And again, just because somebody else does it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It just means they haven't been caught yet, or maybe they're not popular and nobody knows they're doing it. So that's the, if the tree falls in the woods, does it make a noise problem? So, I don't really, these are kind of those things that, these are really intellectual property. And I'm going to tell you, you can ask an intellectual property lawyer, and I'll bet you if I put 3 of them in a room, all 3 of them will give you different answers, because the reason why is a lot of these cases have not been tried. So there's no precedent and it's all gray. If you have the money to endure a legal battle, do what you want. And then if they come for you, they do. If they don't, they don't. I would not risk my company over this. I would not find a way to work around this. I wouldn't do any of it. I would keep my nose clean, but I also, A, don't want to put my company in jeopardy, and B, I don't have the pockets to fight these people. So I'm not going to ever pick a fight I can't win. And I just told you I picked a fight with Perry Holmes. So that tells you I'm not really opposed to fighting things. But it's just that I can't win an intellectual property case against Marvel Comics or Disney, because that's what, you're not fighting Marvel anymore. You're fighting Disney. Okay. How do you separate the business from it? You don't, kind of, sort of. So here's the thing with Facebook, you have to start your business page off a personal page. You cannot have a personal page that is not tied, or you cannot have a business page that's not tied to a personal page. What we have done for large corporations is we've gone in and created a persona for the personal account and then attached the business to it. So we never had to worry about somebody getting mad and walking out with the profile. So we have created people to attach the business profile to, but in essence, you can't do one without the other in Facebook. LinkedIn is pretty much the same way. Although what I will say is that LinkedIn is people driven. So when you put a post up, you want to make sure you put that post on your person more than you want to do on your business. Okay. Oh, I'm saying a persona. I mean like a person. I just went and created a new person with a fake email address and set it all up. So, and then attached the business to it. I think we did one for Dish Network, and I think the guy's name was like Jim Hightower or something like that. So we just made a guy up. We made his birthday up. We gave him an email address, and no, you know what we did? We called him Mike Evans. I think that's the guy, whoever the guy is that does the home improvement show. That's what we did. We named him that. And that was the owner of all the Dish Network that we were working with, their profiles. So that would answer that question. Let's see. All right, so I think we're good there. All right, so we talked about share buttons. We talked about how to put the blog together. I'm going to show you something really cool here. And I would recommend everybody do this. Jim, this is not new information to you because I did this today in day class, but I'm back to keywords. So what I'm going to say is that for the longest time, we stopped teaching keywords because people were not doing it right. So we would say, pick a keyword, and they would write a page for web design, web designer, web designing, website design. They would write 5 pages, and all those were variants of the same topic, which was web design. So we kind of started to tell everybody work in concepts, not in keywords, but you do need to bring the keywords back into the fold. And there is a plugin for Chrome that I'm highly recommending everybody get because it allows you to see keywords and related keywords. Well, see, you may be JJ Watt. And if you're JJ Watt, that might be why they asked you for a legal ID. But if you're not JJ Watt and you weren't pretending to be JJ Watt, I've never had them ask me for a legal ID if I could prove, if I could set up the base account. So I have multiple accounts that they're also tied to different phone numbers. So when we set up these accounts for businesses, we make sure that they're tied to phone numbers that belong to those businesses and not to myself or somebody else. They're real people, just they don't have birth certificates and driver's license. So you should, as long as you can make an email for them, you shouldn't have too much of a problem, unless of course you're JJ Watt, and then that's why they want a legal ID. His initials are JJ. I don't know if you guys can see the questions, but that's why I say that. Okay. All righty. Let's see. Where did I want to go to? Oh, keywords. So if I go here, let's use my little Texans. If I put in the Texans, let's see if this is going to work. It's not working, Texans. What I will say is if I put in the text, you see this line here that tells me the Texans are searched for $1 million a month or 1 million searches a month, and their 0.47 is what the ad rate would be if I wanted to buy ads using the word Texans. I have a plugin that does that. Oh, here it is. And it's these related keywords. So it gives me the words that we related to the Houston Texans that you might see. So it would be Houston Texans schedule, the news, the roster, the tickets, fire Bill O'Brien. That's not there, but it should be. Anyway, when I go and I look at all of this, I should be trying to work these items into my blog post. So if I was going to do a blog post, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it on pivoting, Pivoting in the pandemic. I'm going to do pivoting in the pandemic, and it doesn't give me, actually Google doesn't recognize that as being a good search term. So I'm not going to call it that now. Let's call it pivoting. All right, pivoting in business. Let's see what that one looks like. So this one, there's 880 searches a month. There's 0 on the PPC. There's no competition. If you look, it says pivoting for a startup, pivoting business strategy, failed business pivots. So these may be things that I want to talk about if I was going to talk about how to pivot and see, here's some things, how small business are pivoting to stay afloat amidst the coronavirus, okay? There's a whole bunch of things here that I could start to use these words that Google would understand that they're related to pivoting for a business. The plugin's name is, hold on, I have to go get it. It's called Keywords Everywhere, and it does have a very small cost factor to it. I think I spent 20 bucks maybe and got 100,000 searches. So I think I've used 88,000 so far. Or I've used 20,000 because I think I'm at 80,000 or something left. Okay, but every keyword. So if I was going to say, okay, I have a plumbing client, and they were telling me to replace hot water heaters. Now is the time to do it. So I'm going to put in replace hot water heater. I'm going to have an article written for replacing a hot water heater. If you notice, the pay-per-click on that right now is $22. Okay. And you'll start to look down. It's going to tell me the words that I should start to use in my blog post that talks about why I should replace a hot water heater in May rather than in July. Okay. It tells me all about them. It tells me maybe I want to do that talks about an electric hot water heater, installing electric water heaters with PVC. What is a tankless water heater? I might want to mention that and how that fits in. it gives me a lot of suggestions on words that I may want to use on my blog post that talks about why I should go install a water heater now rather than in August. So this is a good little handy tool. You need to put that focus back on your keywords and make sure that those keywords are in your pages. And if you have a page that your homepage goes to, that it links to, that, like, let's say I write a blog post and it links to something on the rest of my site, make sure you hook those keywords up and point them out to where they go to. This is one of those most overlooked things that we really need to get back to basics and start doing. So the name of the plugin, again, just to make sure we have it, is Keywords Everywhere. And it's a great little tool for everybody to have in. I can even go as far as to export the list so I can know what I need to attach to give to the writers. All right, what is the Chrome plugin name? May I know what the name of the plugin is? What is the keyword Chrome plugin extension's name? Done. Thank you. You're welcome. I tried that account and it gets locked down and Facebook asks for legal IDs. I think I answered that one. That one is done. This one says, for healthcare outpatient physical therapy, do you have a special media recommendation considering the times of pandemics and fears? You have a lot to write on. You have a lot to write on. Everything from, are you taking special care? What if you had it, let's give an example. I had a knee replacement. And I'm doing outpatient physical therapy for that knee replacement because I had it done on March the 15th. What do I have to, or what should I expect from my home health care provider that's coming to do physical therapy at my house? There is so many different posts that you can put out there to instill confidence in your end users. The list is really somewhat endless. There's a lot of topics with that. You know, how much should I worry about getting coronavirus from my PT? There's just a lot there. All right, so this is an interesting question, the next person's question. It says, you spend a lot of times on blogs. Well, that's understandable, but that's not the full breadth of digital marketing. Can you do a follow-up with other digital marketing methodologies, please? So here's the interesting piece of this. I have been doing that now for the better part of 23 years. Those methodologies are not standalone. They're ever changing. How I execute it, what I need to do about it, how I need to do it, all changes. And we're going to start talking a lot about the update that went on in the beginning of May, because a lot of the things that we've changed to earn trust, or a lot of things have changed that we have to do to earn people's trust now. So that's going to be a new level of methodology that's going to creep in. But that's all I do here at all these classes. I think we've got 2 here now a month. I've got 3 other places a month that are guaranteed. You just have to get on the mailing list and start following me around town, because that's all I talk about is all these methodologies. Because I am not of the opinion, that you can do just one thing. SEO is holistic. It starts with how you build your site and goes all the way out to all of the how often I post, what I post, how I say, what I run. Do I do classes in the outside world? Do I have affiliations with outside entities? Am I a leader in my community? Have I been doing this just for a week? Google's looking at all of that now. So when I say something, it's said with a whole lot more weight than if somebody else says that. And I'm going to say that about you too, Sandra. If you say something about entrepreneurship and how to build a successful business, Google's going to listen to you a whole lot more then they're going to listen to Flora over here that just joined your team a couple weeks ago, right? You haven't been doing entrepreneurs and businesses for a real long time, right? So as a result, you have a whole lot more weight because there's signals all over the internet that talk about that. So as we want to talk about digital methodologies, there's so many of them. Some of them I can put together and make work. Some of them have to be debunked. This is why we've been doing this. And honestly, in this format, I struggle a little bit because I can't get these questions from you. Normally, when we're all in the same room, you guys rapid fire me just as much as I rapid fire back out to you. And I think that's how we kind of learn, which is why I've kind of tried to make sure we get all these questions answered.
Well, let me add something to that.
Go
First
ahead.
of all, while we cover varying topics, we do feature a certain topic. So that's why we talked about blogs so much today, because we promoted this digital marketing clinic as being mostly about blogs, but there was still room for other questions. And so I think that's, since we're getting near the end of our time, I think that's a good opportunity to tell you what the next digital marketing clinic will be about. It's how to audit your own website, tips and tricks to see where your website may have issues, learn ways to fix them in this time when your business needs a good website more than ever. So we're listening to you. So if you have some questions or you have some certain topics that you'd like to be featured in one of our digital marketing clinics, just let us know. What we try and do is at first it was free floating and we had lots of questions coming from all over, and we did that for a while, and then we decided to narrow it down to have one major topic but still allow other questions to come in. So that's why today was about blogs, and next week, well, on May 27th, actually, Wednesday evening, May 27th, from 6 to 8, the topic will be how to audit your own website.
Benny, what was the topic? Because the topic said 9 tips to working with a blog and making it turbocharged.
Right, and we talked a lot about blogs today, and that was the point.
That's why this whole thing is the digital marketing clinic. So everything is tied back to, and maybe that's the piece. Maybe there was something missing in that.
Well, I think we talk about how the digital marketing clinics happen regularly. They were once a month, and because things got so popular during these times that we all went virtual, we started doing 2 a month. But we also, SCORE encouraged us to pick one major topic to announce. So we announced the blogging as a major topic for today. And now we've picked another one, how to audit your own website for the next time we do it, the 4th Wednesday of the month. But there's still room for other questions as well.
All right. I don't know where you saw it just saying digital marketing, because everything I saw had both. So I apologize if you didn't realize that there was more to it. I think everything I saw came out and said nine tips for blogging. So I apologize for that if that's the case. That he's saying he didn't see the full title on it. So no problem. We'll make sure that we kind of get that done right. Let's see. This one says, Sandra, this is for you. It says, can the business plan contest apply to a nonprofit?
Yes, it can. We'll be putting more information out in the coming months about the different ways you can prepare to apply for the competition. But the competition is for profits, and it's for nonprofits, and it's also for proposed, startup, and existing businesses. So you can be creating a plan to start a business that hasn't been started yet, or you can be in the startup phase, which we consider any business that has not yet achieved 6 continuous months of net profit. And then you can be in the existing phase and you just want to create a plan to grow further. And so there's a few different things you can do to get ready for it. We co-partner with other entities in the greater Houston area. So if you've been through the Liftoff Houston competition, which is a partner competition of ours, we actually do training in that too. Or if you've been through the U of H Shore program or the Houston Area Urban League Small Business University, if you've completed those programs, we consider that a prerequisite to applying for our competition. Or you can go through our Small Business Success Series by HCC, which is sponsored by Wells Fargo. And we'll do that again in the summer. We'll do that virtually, where you can sign up for the 5 different topics. And this will be the first time we offer the whole thing virtually. So you'll be able to do all of it within 2 months I think we're going to do 2 or 3 afternoons a week for 5 weeks straight. from mid-July through August until we do 5 weeks. We also have some online classes called How to Create a Successful Business Plan. So we want you to get ready and have a draft of a plan when you come into the competition. And then you apply. And when you apply, if you get in, you get assigned a couple of advisors. So you can apply as a 1-person team all the way up to a 5-person team. And if you get in, you get 5 free training sessions. And actually we added a 6th this year. And so there's training to help you refine and polish the business assumptions in your plan, because the real goal of the competition is not just to award prize money to the top 5 teams, but it's to make sure all teams that move through it get a chance to come out with a stronger, actionable plan that they can implement against and take to go get funding. So we're excited about it. It's our 13th year of the competition. So we say, get ready for it now. Don't stop. Don't slow down, because you can jump in and take a run at the competition at any stage of your business, as long as you're working to grow it further.
All right, so I want to point everybody's attention to the screen a second, just a minute. On the website, if you go to the internet marketing thing, like I said, the entire class, the schedules, and everything are here. I have 3 questions from Helen Fu that I think reviewing some of the past classes and maybe some of the future classes may answer those questions. None of them are sort of appropriate for here. Basically what it says is we're on the first page for repair of pallet jacks and we don't have a lot of sales, and how do you benefit? And when I look at a page like this, there's no wonder, I don't know where you are on this page, but you've got to assess where you are and what classes that talk about all the problems with this page on how these things are. So I encourage you to look at the page, to look at the past, and look at for future classes here and the class topics, because I think we have classes that are going to answer some of this, because this is a huge problem. And I'm going to make an editorial, and you all can go away with the editorial for the night. This change that Google made on May the 4th, I'm very disappointed that they made a change that damaged and hurt small business as bad as they did, when small businesses could have used a hand up from them instead of being pushed further in the dirt. The ones that went down are the tiniest of the tiny. I feel bad for some of the people that for what seems to be what they did to cause this. And I'll get back with that as I need to get strategies on how to combat it, which is why I've not touched it. But when I look at a homepage like this, if you're number 1 organically, by the time I get to you, I need a nap. I may need a full night's sleep, and I may need to go get my lunch, because by the time I get to the organics, I've had to get through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 choices before I ever get to the first part of Google. So I just, there's a problem there with this. And then we need to kind of talk about all of this. And we're going to talk about this in depth over the next several months. So just hang with me. It's not appropriate for this particular class per se, but it is a burning and pressing question that really needs to be looked at. So with that, I'm not happy with what they did and the timing of it all. I think we all could have used the help, not to be hurt. And it's unfortunate that they did what they did. So, all right. Anybody have any other questions? Because we need to go to bed, Sandra and I. It's like 8 o'clock and it's like past our bedtime. At least mine it is. I don't know about yours, but mine, it's like my gas tank's on E. So if you guys are good, I'm good. Bye, Jim. We'll see you next time. So
I think it's been a great, I think it's been a great experience, and I appreciate the clinic side of this where people get to ask a lot of questions. So it is a different format than one where there's just one big PowerPoint presentation, but this is a chance to really ask questions. So I appreciate having someone with the expertise to be able to handle. How many questions have we done? 78 questions today?
We've done 78 questions, yeah. And we didn't even flinch on them. None of them we flinched on. We knew the answers to all of them, except the intellectual property ones. And even then I kind of can guess, but
well, we'll take that to score and see, and hopefully the people that signed up for this will get more stuff from SCORE, and they've got IP stuff too.
Yeah, I think EIP stuff is a good thing to do from time to time. So,
Thank
all
you,
right.
everyone, so much for joining in. We appreciate it, and look for more news about our next one coming up on May 27th.